Well, hello, and welcome back to that thing we like to call Curlis Mania, where we talk all things pop, rock, and prog. Doing something a little bit different tonight. Um, and I'm very happy, very excited to welcome back my friend Eric Porter. Eric, how are you tonight?
Good, Tom. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Really better now. It's kind of a long day at work, but I'm feeling better because I'm here talking to you about the Allman Brothers.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Let's do it indeed.
Live at Fillmore East. Eric has a specific channel on Sea of Tranquility. Is it called Let's Jam? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
we call it Let's Jam.
Let's Jam. And he talks about a lot of jam bands. And, it's not a huge genre for me, but the one band that always gets me is the Allman Brothers. There's something about the Allman Brothers that gets me, and I don't know if it's like the combination of like it's almost like blues plus jazz plus jamming plus it's like but it has bite to it. It's got especially when Dwayne was there, it just has some bite to it that is like different than like the Grateful Dead, for example. Um,
Absolutely agree. And that was a point I was going to make, Tom, was that I'm doing the jam show. I do love, and I've really gotten into a lot of the new jam bands that are out on the scene. And I don't even want to say new because some of them have been around for a long time. But I think and I always say to people, I kind of struggle with the Dead, and they'll give me one of these, oh, you like jam, but you don't like the Dead. But I'm like, I don't know. Like when you put these two together, and it's a different thing, but I always felt there's a fire with the Allman Brothers that I just never got from the Grateful Dead. It's not to put them down. I know
right.
they're their own thing and obviously a huge thing, but yeah, to me, I'm with you on that. The Allman Brothers, to me, they were just something superior. I mean, and not again, not to knock the Dead, but
Yeah.
there's something about them that's and I've had this album since I want to say 12 years old. So
Yeah.
there's just something about this band that floored me from the first time I heard them.
Right, absolutely. No, I agree. And that's what we're here to do tonight, by the way. We're here to talk about the legendary live record at
Yeah.
Fillmore East. Um, Eric's got multiple copies of I have my again, I have this on I was saying earlier before we started recording, I have this on vinyl somewhere, but for some reason I could not find it. I guess I'm gonna have to buy it again. I could not find it anywhere. But I do have my deluxe edition that was we were talking about. I think it came out in early 2000s, 2003 or 4, and it's like the deluxe version with two CDs, and it's got some extra tracks on it. So always, I mean, this is like essential. I mean, it's one of those records. I was listening to this again, just getting ready for this, and man, I mean, it's like I've been listening to, and Eric knows this. I've been listening to a lot of dense prog lately to get ready for other episodes with between Jethro Tull, ELP, Rush, all these prog, heavy prog, and it's like dense, 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 like crazy musicianship, changes galore. And then I was listening to this, and it was like a cool glass of water. It was like.
I
Getting
hear you.
ready for this, I was like, this is kind of nice. There's so much space in the music, and you
Yeah.
know,
And you got to switch gears. You can't just keep going down that same path. There's so much music out there. And it's nice to revisit things like this. This was an album, like I said, this was an album I think I got when I was about 12 years old. And I'll tell you a quick story. Huge Kiss fan at that age. They were my world. They were probably the first band I can ever say I was totally into that got me into music. So thank you, Kiss. And it is the 50th anniversary of Alive, since we're
wow,
talking about live records. But
yeah,
anyway, long story short, I was taking guitar lessons and my guitar player or my guitar teacher would ask me, what are you listening to? And I was a 12-year-old kid. I was a Kiss fan. It was the 70s. So I was a
yeah,
Kiss fan.
yeah.
And I remember him saying to me, you need to get the Allman Brothers live at Fillmore East. Okay. Maybe I'd heard them on the radio, maybe I hadn't at that point. I don't even remember. But I remember, saving my money, allowance money, and you'd go out and I bought this record based on my guitar teacher saying, you need to hear this.
Wow.
This is great stuff. And I fell in love with it. And ever since then, it's been one of my favorite live records, period, end of story.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what a great tip, right? What a like he's like, "Hey, little man, you need to go get some serious music."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably, happy he gets to put his influence on some kid, but
Right. Right.
he definitely steered me in the right direction.
He did you right. Yeah, exactly. He was yes, absolutely. So, and it's interesting that you bought it at 12 and you've been loving it ever since.
Absolutely.
You know, that's
And I'll admit, and we all have this. You've got large collections. There's things that you don't necessarily go back to. Um, and Tom and I were talking a little bit before we came on air. And one of the things I said to Tom is, I love the studio records. There's some great stuff, but I have bought a lot of live Allman Brothers over the years. And honestly, if I'm in the mood to listen to them, I reach for a live record, and that's just kind of the way it's always been.
yeah.
Probably based on this being my first listen to that band.
Well, that was speaking of the studio records, that this was my first introduction to the Allman Brothers was this record, this Beginnings,
Yep.
which is the first two albums on one album.
Okay.
My brother-in-law, he was actually just dating my sister at the time, but he's now my brother-in-law. He had this record and he let me borrow it. And I remember listening to this and I mean, these are great records, but like you said, it's nothing. I mean, live is a completely different level, but this
Yes.
they're still really good records. Um,
Absolutely.
the debut and Idlewild South are both very good, you know? And it's a pretty amazing it shows that they were such a huge live band that by the live album was their third record.
Yep.
A double
Absolutely.
live album is their third album,
That
which is
was the
pretty awesome.
70s, though, Tom, right? I mean, this is
Yeah.
obviously early 70s, but when you think of, everything was a double live record, right? Kiss Alive, I just mentioned. Frampton Comes Alive. I mean, all these huge live albums that came out in the 70s, everyone was putting out double live recordings,
Yeah,
which,
Live and Dangerous with
yeah, great stuff.
yeah. Yeah, no, and it was, and they were selling. I mean, people wanted the live albums, and that was, a pretty cool thing. Um, so yeah, oh, Four Way Street's another one, CSNY.
There you go.
Um, yeah, so anyway, but yeah, there's anyway, that was my introduction to the Allman Brothers was that Beginnings record, the two albums, and then when I heard Fillmore East, I was just like blown away because it's just
Mhm.
like the we were talking about the fire and the just the you can tell that they're jamming, but they have these like organized jams. It's like
Mhm.
and all of a sudden it feels like they're going into Netherland, and all of a sudden they'll stop on a dime, and you're like, well, what just like you can tell they're all looking at each other like, okay, here we go, stop. And then
Yeah,
they stop. It's just amazing. It's like it's jamming at a very, very high level, you know?
very,
And,
very.
and things like what is it? So we used to I gotta tell a story. Okay. I was in a cover band in when I was right out of college and I was playing drums in this band. And we were playing it was this sort of like this weird dichotomy band where we were playing like hits of the day and then but then the guy that led the band also loved jammy stuff. He also loved like we played Santana and we played in I think we played Oye Como Va and we played In Memory of Elizabeth Reed.
Wow. Okay.
And we had a really good keyboard player and he was a pretty good guitar player. And we actually like did it. I mean, we actually was I remember loving playing it. Like it was so much fun to play. And but then he would be like, "All right, stick around for some Spin Doctors." My friends used to laugh because he would always like just to get the girls back. He'd be like, "Okay, we're gonna play some Two Princes is coming up."
Right.
Uh, but then we would play Allman Brothers and Santana, and I always have a memory of that. That memory always comes back. We were playing bars in Hoboken at the time, and I just remember that always comes back whenever I hear "Memory of Elizabeth Reed." It's like that memory just comes right back. Because we I mean we probably we tried it. We didn't kill it, but we tried it. And it was always people always liked it. I mean, people always enjoyed it when we played it. So um,
Well, I mean, I know we're going to talk about everything, but the thing about that song, because I listen to a lot of instrumental music, and I think one of the most difficult things about listening and enjoying instrumental music is retaining it, because I think a lot of people key off vocals, whether it's a vocal cue. And granted, a good pop song will do that for you. But when you mention that song, if you know In Memory of Elizabeth Reed, it's immediately here. And to have an instrumental, just you can hear that melody and you can hum that melody. That doesn't happen a lot. It's for me, and maybe it's because I'm getting old, but it's sometimes it's hard to retain stuff, even as much as you like it. And granted, when we were kids, you maybe only had 30 albums. So you probably listen to stuff a lot more, where now we kind of jump around and maybe you
Right.
don't spend as
Right.
much time with things. But
Yeah.
these songs, just for some reason, they're just great tunes. They stick with you. And I don't know what else to say about it, but I find that to be something that is difficult. And I love instrumental music, but to have that recall, and in memory of Elizabeth Reed is one of those songs that it's just, you don't forget it. It sticks with you.
Yes. They're so memorable, those riffs. And the melody, guitar
Yep.
melody is just so memorable. Um, the other story I had before I forget to tell it is that and I was reading that Bill Graham book, and he was talking about, because he was a huge Allman Brothers fan, and
Yes.
he booked them at the Fillmore East, obviously. And I guess when the story in the book is hilarious. They said that the promo picture that they had of the Allman Brothers at the time was them. They were naked, in like with no clothes on, standing in a river or something like that.
Yep.
And so these guys are from New York, and they're like, "Who's this band? Like, who are these bunch of local yoko? Like, who are these guys from Georgia? Like, who these guys are going to be a joke." And then I guess they showed up in their rickety van, and they're bringing in their like beat up amps, and these guys are like, "Oh my God, these guys are going to suck so bad." And then they started playing sound check, and he said everybody stopped what they were doing and started like staring at the band and said, "Oh my God, these guys are fantastic." So
I'm sure. I'm
yeah.
sure.
So that was the beginning of the Allman Brothers. Well, people didn't know who they were, and they were blowing people away. So yeah, so let's go through the record. So it starts off with Statesboro Blues. What do you think about that?
Well, to me, it's one of the iconic openers for a live album. And I want to say this because, and I probably should be saying this on Sea of Tranquility, I love Greg Allman. I love his singing. I think he's one of my favorite singers ever. And people who watch me on that channel are probably going to say, you never talk about vocalists, but I don't think it gets much better than Greg Allman, to be honest with you. He's just got such a soulful, deep, rich voice, great tone, powerful singer. And Statesboro Blues is another one. Those slide licks from Dwayne. Um, we could talk about dual guitar bands, Thin Lizzy and Wishbone Ash. You can go through the list. Does anybody do it better than Dickie Betts and Dwayne Allman? I don't think so. Um, I just
No.
don't. And unfortunately, obviously, Dwayne cut down, way too young. But to have this kind of as a testament as to what he could do is absolutely amazing. And Statesboro Blues, it's funny how what is there on I think I counted it before the show. Is it 7 total songs on a double album? So
Yeah.
you're getting a lot of guitar from these guys. But Statesboro Blues is the statement. I mean, if that doesn't hit you, take it off your record player, because there's no reason for you to go any further. I fell in love with that one right out of the gate. I remember sitting there, not even knowing at 12 years old what a slide was, trying to figure out how's he getting that sound. And I'm sure I went back to my guitar player or my guitar teacher the next week saying, I don't know how that sound comes, because I had no clue what a slide guitar was at 12 years old. And I remember him showing me, and I'm a horrible slide player, but it was always fun just to try to play those licks. Had no, that's probably, Tom, too, is one of the first times somebody told me about open tuning.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think Dwayne uses a open E in that tune. And I remember my guitar teacher saying, "Oh, well, you have to tune your guitar to open E." I didn't know what he was talking about. And he's like, "You strum it and it's an E chord. You don't have to have any hands on the fretboard." And he
Hmm.
tuned my guitar for me and kind of showed me a little bit of slide. Uh, but like I said, if you listen to Statesboro Blues and that doesn't have an impact on you, then take it back, because I don't know that there's a need for you to go any further.
You're
Just
not
I
gonna
love
like this
this.
record. You're not gonna like
Yes,
it at all.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean I just have to expound on the slide. I mean, you know, I've messed around with slide guitar here and there. I play guitar as well, and it's like trying to do, I'll do like, you know, I'll really try really hard, and I'll be on one string, and you know, maybe I could do like a little bit of a, you know, but
Yep,
it's like his stuff is so precise and so good. It's so perfect. It's like, oh my
he
God,
is.
you
And
know?
not to jump ahead of things, but I mean, if you've ever seen Derek Trucks, whether it was during his time with the Allman Brothers or Derek Trucks band or Tedeschi Trucks, guy's amazing. I
Yeah,
mean, to
yeah,
have found somebody, and I know he was, I think he's the nephew of Butch Trucks,
right.
uh, obviously an Allman, one of the Allman Brothers, but I mean, he's absolutely incredible. And obviously, Dwayne died, you know, in I believe 71 or 72. So, and it wasn't long after this, I believe, right, that it came out. Where Dwayne passed. So to have actually found somebody who is just as incredible as Derek Trucks is, and you know what? I'll throw this in too, even though it's not part of the conversation. Warren Haynes and Derek Trucks. I don't think you could have found two better players to jump into that '90s Allman Brothers band and take over and kind of bring them back to prominence the way those two did. I mean, absolutely incredible to find people who had that same uh, could create that same energy that was created by Dickie Betts and Dwayne Allman.
Yeah, they really were perfect. I mean, they were
Yep,
perfect guitar players for that, you know, to carry on the legend, basically.
agreed.
You know, I mean, and to take up that mantle. I mean, if you're gonna step in and go, yeah, I'll try to play some Dwayne Allman. I mean, you got to be high level guitar player. You know,
Damn straight.
you know.
That's a some pretty scary shoes to step into.
Yeah, God, yeah, for sure. So, so yeah, anyway, but yeah, it's amazing. I'm so happy that the Allman Brothers continued. Like, I gotta say, like, I'm so happy that they continued to play, and they played for years, and Greg just, you know, Greg kept going until the end. So, um, which is really kind of sad because there's the original lineup, the only person that's still with us is JMO. Uh,
Yes,
yeah. So that's really sad, actually. But you know, the Allman Brothers are will never be forgotten. So the music will live on forever. But yeah, so Trouble No More is the second, and I'm with you. Station Road Blues is just an awesome beginning, kicks
yes,
off so well, and then Trouble No More for me is just like another 1-2 punch. I mean,
yep,
that the again the riff, I mean, dur, 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 dur. I mean, it's just oh my
yeah.
God,
Right, your head is immediately going like this, you know, you're
yeah.
bouncing to that. And actually on the album, Tom, it's Done Somebody Wrong. Trouble No More, I don't think made was on the original release
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. I'm sorry.
of
I'm looking
Fillmore
at the
East, but
slides. Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're right. I mean, there's deluxe editions now, and I also think you can buy, God, I want to say there's like a 4 disc set or a 3 disc set, maybe bigger, that had all three shows that they did for this, what came out of and became the original release of Fillmore East. So
Right, right.
there's a
Yeah,
lot you can pick up as well. So you get a lot of that extra music that didn't make the original release.
yeah, because they played 4 shows, right? Their early shows and late shows or
I
whatever.
think so. Yes.
Yeah. So that came from the tapes were taken from those 4 shows, I think. But yeah, so sorry. So let's move. Let's go to the original release. So it's Done Somebody Wrong is the next
Yep.
track. And again, it's there's a lot of blues going on. I mean, and there's like a blues foundation, right? And I
Yep.
just love the blues foundation that they have, and the fact that they can just like smack down these blues songs are just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean it's a great song. That's another one that the guitars, when they get kicking, just are on fire. Um, and I love, again, Greg. It's his inflections, it's his phrasing, his voice, the tone. I mean, he to me, he's just an incredible singer. I can't say enough about how much I like him. And talking about his voice, I don't want to take away from how much his playing, that Hammond, adds to the band. I mean, a lot
Oh
of
my
times
God,
he's
yeah, yeah,
playing along with the guitars, other times he's just chording over the top. but everything he does is perfect. And if you'll notice, there's certain songs if you listen to Stormy Monday, where you just got that nice,
Oh,
Hammond kind of just layering, but then you get stuff like, and I'm trying to think of the right song, but like maybe it is Statesboro Blues, you get more of that. The Hammond, you could switch those keys and you make different sounds. And I don't know, I just think he was, maybe does not get enough credit for the musician he was. I know people love his singing, but I think he was absolutely great Hammond organ player.
oh my God, yeah. I mean, the combination, like you're saying, that's the one thing that hit me too when I was listening for this episode. I mean, Greg, his vocals are, like you said, you nailed it. He's so soulful. He's just got
Mhm.
this awesome soulful. I mean, for a white guy from Macon, it's like this guy is killing it. And then, like
Yep.
you said, those beautiful Hammond chords that oh, just perfect. It's like the perfect like it's almost like the secret ingredient or something,
Yes.
you know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, unbelievable. And then Stormy Monday is sort of like a slow blues. Uh,
Indeed.
and
T-Bone Walker tune, I believe,
yes,
right?
yes. In fact, you hear Dwayne say it at the beginning, he goes, "Hey, it's actually a T-Bone Walker song." Um, and no, it's I mean, man, whoa, not many bands can do this and get away with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know
No,
how to,
I think I agree. I think a lot of people think the blues is simple, but if you listen to a lot of the subtle things in here, again, that organ tone in this one is great.
yeah,
It
yeah,
just kind of simmers, and then the guitars are doing a lot of the sliding chords, and it's not just I'm going to play an A7 and a D7. There's a lot of changing, moving up and down the guitar neck. I mean, it's not, it's like you said, to actually get it right. Maybe you can play a blues progression, but to actually do it the way these guys do it, it's another level, and
yeah, yeah. There's just something about it. And like you said, his vocal on this is just chef's kiss. It's like,
yes.
oh my God. I mean, in fact, I came in, I was listening to it in the car and I came in and my wife was laughing at me because I kept coming and going, Lord, have mercy on me. Like, I was like, it's just like, it's hard not to like, that song just stays with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
And
Uh,
that even does that have, is it Tom Duchette is on harmonica?
Harmonica.
Okay.
I think
So you
so.
get a little change up having a little harmonica in those tunes too, or
Yeah.
certain tunes.
Yep, yep. In fact, there's a Dwayne Allman like interview on YouTube, and he's all excited. He's like, "We got another member. We got another member." I think he's talking about the harmonica player.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay.
like
That makes sense.
right before he died, he's talking about adding another member to the band. So I have a feeling it might have been the harmonica guy. Tom, what was his name? Tom?
I think it's like Tom Duchette or
Yeah,
Theo, yeah, something along that line.
yes. Um, so then we get it. So that's side one. So then side two is one song, "You Don't Love Me," which
Yes.
is just a massive, just just goes on and on, and but in a great way. Like I have no problem with. I would not want to shave a minute off this. And man, we haven't talked yet about like the drumming, how like they have two drummers and they're like simpatico, and
Mhm.
you know, I always think of like I was thinking about this the two drumming thing with like Phil Collins and Chester Thompson. They're very aggressive. Like, they're doing stuff in unison. Whereas Allman Brothers, it's more like it's like they're kind of skipping along and they
Yeah,
kind of do these like shuffles almost, like they're shuffling. It's you know what I mean?
yeah, I do.
It's
Um,
cool.
it
You
is
know?
cool. And, I think as a kid, I was like, well, what do they need two drummers for? You
Right.
know,
Right.
But it does add a power live, believe it or not. And I think what I like with this song, Tom, there's a couple things that stood out to me was at the beginning, it's almost like the crowd gets them going because you get the crowd was like clapping along, and it's almost like the band is kind of, let's find the tempo that the audience is giving us. I mean, I
Yes.
kind of got that feel from it.
Yes.
I love, and in this one, I think Greg plays a lot of organ licks that go along with the guitar, so he's playing kind of in unison with the guitars. And then this is the one where I think the band kind of steps off for a bit, and Dwayne is just up there soloing, and then you'll hear a
Yes.
little drums behind him, and it ends with like the Joy to the World, wherever that came from. But he throws in that Joy to the World lick, and that's kind of how
Yes.
they kind of wrap things up, which is kind of an interesting twist, considering I think the shows were done in March. So
Right.
it wasn't like it was a Christmas show and they threw Joy to the World in there or something, but
Yeah.
it's kind of,
Yeah.
you know,
It kind of feels like, I agree with you when you're listening to it. It kind of feels like the rest of the band went off for a beer or something for a while.
right. Yeah,
Just let Dwayne just go to town for a while. And then you wonder, like, I'm sure they had cues. You're like, there's got to be
yeah,
certain cues that would be like, all right, he did that. All right, we got to go back out and start playing again.
absolutely.
Because his solo goes on for a while. So, but yeah, I just love the infectious groove on this. The I just that and it's just like you said, they're kind of feeding off the audience a little bit too, because
Yeah.
everyone's clapping along, and it just suddenly it just takes off.
And I think that's something that gets missed a lot. I mean, I do listen to a lot of technical music, which I love. I love hearing the complexity and, you know, as you're sitting there listening to something, you're going, "Oh my God, how can these guys pull this off?" But at the same time, you listen to something like this. There's so many subtle little things going on, and you know, try playing it and try making it sound the way these guys do. It's not easy. So
Exactly.
um, you can't take anything away from. Yeah, there's like you said, it's blues based, but there are jazz things that are going on in here. The guitars and drums, I think, really fire these guys up. So, kind of saying, like you said, to you, and it's not to use the term loosely, but it is a fusion. It's a fusion of styles that these guys put together and very original. I mean, you listen to this, you have to go back and think about the time period that this was done in. They sound like nobody, unless there's bands that I haven't heard of, and I know these guys have influences, but I'm like, nobody sounded like the Allman Brothers, even
No.
though they're doing
Yeah.
blues stuff
Right.
and old blues tunes. They
Right.
still had their own thing going.
Yeah, that's so true. They were just so unique at the time. You think about the bands that were around, they just nobody like that you nailed it. No one sounded like them.
Right.
And no one could. I mean, because like you said, you add that. I mean, Greg's voice is just, come on. I mean, you don't get that voice every day. You know,
Exactly.
you just don't. And then we haven't mentioned Barry Oakley. I mean, he is also late. He is just holding it down. He is holding it down on the back. I mean, and whenever you feel like it's going off the rails, you just feels like he is just holding it down. I don't know.
He's the guy. Yep. Yeah, and he'll take it out for a spin every once in a while. You'll hear some nice runs from him.
Right.
But you're right, solid as a rock. Solid as a rock.
Yeah, unbelievable. So Hot Lana starts out so You Don't Love Me is all of side two, and then side three is Hot Lana starts out with Hot Lana, which is a really cool instrumental. What's your take on this one?
That's my sleeper. It's short, right? I mean,
Yeah,
considering the length of a lot of these tracks,
relatively
uh,
short. Yeah, for them. Yeah,
it's a pretty short song for them. But this is kind of my sleeper because this is another one that it's an instrumental that just has a great catchy riff.
yeah.
And
Uh,
again, for people who might not get into the longer jammy stuff, maybe that isn't their thing. Listen to this. It's whatever 3 minutes and 20 or 30 seconds. It's perfection for
yeah,
me. I mean,
yeah,
again, you got Greg's bubbling organ, the bass line, is killer, and the harmony guitars again. And not enough can be said because you think about the bands that came along that used, and even like bands like Iron Maiden. I'm not saying that they were influenced by the Allman Brothers, but you think about all those bands where you really love the dual guitar work. I just, again, nobody does it better. And it's not even the playing, although it's spectacular. These are just so well constructed and written, and it's not easy to write a riff that's going to stick in somebody's head, and these
yep,
do.
yep. No, absolutely. And Dickie Betts, man, he is talk about someone who just doesn't get talked about enough. Like, he is just an awesome guitar player. I mean, the fact that he was like toe to toe with Dwayne Allman and
Right.
and just staying with him every step of the way is unreal. And I mean, um, so Dickie played an SG, right? Is that I think Dickie Betts played an SG. Not I mean not always, but
Okay.
and then Dwayne always usually played a Les Paul.
Yeah.
So
And I
yeah,
think about Dickie a lot, that I feel like I've seen him with Les Pauls a lot too, but I almost now I want to go back and look at a picture from this period and check that out, Tom. For some reason, it's not sticking in my head.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it
I
wouldn't
mean, like,
surprise me because, well, I actually, you know what? I feel like Dwayne played slide a lot on SG, but I could be, maybe I'm thinking of
oh,
Derek
maybe you
Trucks
did.
and
Yeah,
not, because you're right. I do remember seeing, I think he had a gold top, I want to say, or something that he used a lot, but
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Very cool, very cool. So then we move into Memory of Elizabeth Reed, which we talked about earlier. It's a Dickie Betts song. It's a Dickie Betts tune, speaking of Dickie Betts. And it's just man, talk about an instrumental that you said it earlier. I don't know what else to say. It does really stick in your head, and it's so catchy, and it's so melodic. I mean, it's very
yes,
melodic, and the touch and the playing and the oh my God, I don't know what to say about it. I just love it. And the it just it's a to me it's almost like the quintessential Allman Brothers. So I just love it.
it
I,
is. It's iconic. I don't, yeah, I don't know that we can lavish enough praise on it.
yeah, I don't know what to
It's
say.
it's spectacular, and it's kind of that, again, I just saw Government Mule and Tedeschi Trucks last Friday, and again, knowing this was coming up, I've been listening to this record, quite a bit, throwing it on maybe once a day or putting it on when I'm in the car, and just seeing Tedeschi Trucks and Government Mule, just kind of that getting that vibe, especially with Tedeschi Trucks, because
Yeah,
they had a
yeah.
little horn section. Um, they didn't make any bones about that. Music is just that same soulful, and Warren's is too, don't get me wrong,
Oh
but
yeah.
it just kind of brings that up, like, thank God there's people still out there doing this. you know
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's because people, people always say, "Oh, people don't make music like this anymore." Actually, they do.
yes, they do.
You just got to
Right,
find it. You got to go
it's
see
out
it.
there.
Yeah. Yep. So, very cool. But yeah,
Yep.
just I mean, I don't. It's hard to say anything about. I mean, I just when it kicks into that
Oh, yep.
it's just like, oh my God, it's so cool.
Perfect.
So
Perfect,
great.
right?
So great. And they're doing, like you said, the unison lines and the harmony lines and just like, oh, it just blows my mind. So
Yep.
awesome. So then side four is one song again, Whipping Post. And my favorite moment, I love the moment when he's like, okay, this is a song off a second record or whatever. And he's like, starts out with Barry or something. And then people start yelling out, Whipping
Yep.
Post. And he's like, you guessed it. It's so great. That's and it's just oh my God. Yeah. So
Yep.
so cool. I mean, what like, this is another one like what can you say? Like this is just another absolute stone cold classic.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Greg Allman tune, I believe, right? Greg wrote this one.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, just, and I'm always coming at stuff from the guitar perspective. And this is another one where they just know how to do this. They work so well together,
Yeah.
and the fire that these guys played with, again, you're bringing in all these different elements. You know that there's a, and I know Dwayne, I think at the time, had been asked to join Derek and the Dominoes and did some, obviously he played on those sessions, but I think Clapton had asked him to actually join the band.
He did.
So,
Yeah.
Derek had this, obviously the big blues influence, but between, or Dwayne, I'm sorry, not Derek, that him and Dickie brought such a, I mean, the guitar fire they have, and like you said, maybe based in blues, but it's blues cranked to 15 or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean,
Exactly. Exactly.
it's rocking. It's rocking.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's these go to 11. Um, for sure. No, I agree. And you're right. They're apparently Eric did ask him to join Derek and the Dominoes, and he went to Miami for the sessions and he missed some, I guess he missed some shows possibly or something like that. And then but then he finally said, Eric, I can't, I got to go back to the Allman Brothers.
Yep. Go back to my go back to my band, right?
I got to go back to my band. Yeah. So he did, thankfully, but,
And I think too, to point out, Tom, like in Whipping Post, the band shows, and we're talking about how fiery and heavy they are, and they are, but they also had a great sense of dynamic. I mean, a
yes,
lot of these songs, when they bring stuff down and build it back up, that's another thing that's not easy to do.
right,
Um, and
right.
there's a lot of bands that aren't good at that, that they're, they don't have that dynamic and component to them where maybe it's just loud and fast, or I feel like these guys really had a good sensibility when they were putting these songs together, where to put things, where to kind of bring things down a little bit, where to let Greg come in and then kind of bring things back up. The more you listen to this, the more you say touch and feel, and just the way the songs are written, they really knew how to put something together and put it together well.
They really did. And I think a lot of it was, I did notice that a lot of dynamics on all over this record, right? And it's almost, there's points where, you almost feel like this is getting really intense, where Dwayne is just like, and you're
Yep.
like, oh my God, this is getting so intense. All of a sudden, they bring it right back down again. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, so they know, okay, we're at a peak. Okay, now we're going to bring it down again. And they just, like, I don't know if it's instinct or they just rehearsed a ton, or I don't know what it was, but they do it perfectly.
And I think that even with the guitars, so even if they're both using Gibsons, one of the things that you kind of pick out, and I don't know if this is the right word, because saturated means a different thing in 2025 than it probably did in 71. But I feel like Dickie's sound is a little bit cleaner, and
Yes.
Dwayne is the one that's a little grittier. But they work so well together. There's such a great balance between the two of them, and you're thinking, okay, well, they're both using, maybe they're both using Gibsons, so you have the humbuckers instead of the single coils. Sometimes
Right.
that's a big difference in sound, that one guitarist will use, the humbuckers, the other one will use a single coil to give them the differentiation. But you can usually pick out, once you've gotten used to the song, say, oh, that's Dickie's part. Oh, that's Dwayne's part, and I know Dwayne does a lot of the slide, or a lot more of the slide, but I kind of always get that sense that Dickie's got that little more of a cleaner sound, whereas Dwayne has a little bit more dirt or hair on his tone than Dickie does.
Totally agree. And the two of them, the two of those things together, that's what makes that sound.
Yep.
It's a sweetness, and the little bit of the grit and a little sweetness. It's like it's all together. It's great. And speaking of Eric Clapton, it kind of reminds me of that, where, Clapton switched to a Strat, and then
Yes.
and it was like, dude, you can pull out like a Gibson on occasion, like, because he always played a straight, and it was like sometimes that tone got a little bit like thin for me, like, and whenever he tried to play like Sunshine of Your Love, or it was like it didn't sound the same.
Jeff Beck did that too, though.
Did he?
But
Oh,
I
that's
think
true.
I think Jeff Beck had a better sensibility of his tone than Clapton,
Yeah.
and it's, I don't throw stones, but to me, Jeff Beck to me really had a great sense of dynamics. He's always on the volume pedal and
Yes.
or
Yeah.
volume knob, tone knob, um, and
Crazy
I think it
control.
was,
Crazy control.
and I
Yeah.
might be thinking pictures more than when he actually made the change, but I feel like Blow by Blow is he's got the picture of the Les Paul, but it seems like, and then Wired had the Strat on it, and
Right.
they're
Yeah.
obviously close together. But it does seem like when you saw Jeff, maybe after that mid to late 70s period, he had kind of switched to using the Strat full time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And like you said, I Jeff Beck is kind of a different animal. Like the guy,
Yeah.
I mean, he plays with his fingers, and he's got, like you said, he's got his pinky on the volume, and he's got like one finger on the whammy bar. I mean, he's unbelievable. The stuff that he does
Yes,
on the guitar, it's unreal. Anyway, we're getting a
absolutely.
little bit sidetracked. It's okay. This is just
Sorry.
we're just geeking out about guitars.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because these are, like, Dickie Betts and Dwayne Allman, some of the best guitar players in rock. So come on. So anyway, so they end with Whipping Post, and I mean, come on, it's pretty hard to, after that. What are you gonna do after that? Whipping Post is just so epic.
It
Um,
is.
you know. So what, I mean, what a record. I mean, and I think that audiences were won over by this band during this time. I think that this was the right, and when the people heard this album when it got released, I think they went like this. Like I think they were struggling until this album came out, and then it was like they
Well, you know what's funny, Tom? I mean, I'm just thinking about some of the records that we brought up, and it's again not to take away from the topic. Kiss really hit with Kiss Alive.
yep,
Frampton went over the top with Frampton Comes Alive. I don't know what it was about the 70s, but
yeah.
that live album thing really seemed to that generated a lot of excitement for people. I don't know. I'm sure there's others that I'm missing,
Well, yeah,
but it's kind of
like
funny, you know.
I was talking about Humble Pie a couple episodes ago, and Rockin' the Fillmore. That's they also had
Okay.
a Fillmore album, and that album did the bet that took off for them. That was a live album. So yeah, no, and it's interesting because you think about a live album. I thought about this, and Frampton talks about this because he basically said a live album is almost like a greatest hits record too. Like he put out three or four solo records, and it was like the greatest songs or mix from all those four records, and done in a live setting. And in his case, his band was just smoking, and that record is so damn good. And it's like he then all of a sudden it was the best album that ever sold. I don't know what it
Huge.
was. It
Yeah.
was crazy. It went nuts. And he said that he was scared when his manager called him and said it's the biggest selling live album of all time or something like that. He said I got scared because it's like how the hell do I follow that?
Yeah. How do I follow this? Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So and it's interesting that what was the next album, Allman Brothers, was Eat a Peach, right?
Yes, I believe
So
so.
and I think there's some live stuff from the Fillmore on this. I think Mountain Jam is from,
You might be right.
I think.
Yeah, I think I've got it here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you're right that it's
So
yeah,
yeah, there it is. So yeah, and I love Mountain Jam, and it's funny because I did for the longest time
yeah. Mountain Jam's here.
I didn't know that Mountain Jam when it went do 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 do. I never understood. It's finally someone said, "First there is a mountain." It's a Donovan song.
Really? Okay.
Yes, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that. I just
Yeah,
thought it
I
was just some cool jam. Like I didn't know it was a Donovan song. It's so funny."
well, that makes two of us because I didn't know that either.
Yep, yep, yep. So yeah, so anyway, but yeah, so they did a great job following up Fillmore East because Eat a Peach is great. I love Eat a Peach.
That's one of their iconic records for sure.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, I can't, that's another topic for another day, but Eat a Peach is great.
For sure.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say about this record? I think we hit.
I mean, just if you don't have this, you need it. You got to go buy it. Just absolutely incredible. And I think kind of that was the point, that this music, and you said it, Tom, how, they're not there anymore, but I know they do the Allman Brothers revival. I think there's actually something coming. Um, I want to say late fall into winter, like November, December, that they're going to be doing an Allman Brothers revival on the East Coast. So, and
Oh,
you've got,
nice.
like I said, Warren Haynes, Derek Trucks, they're out there doing their own things, but I think they have that spirit, that, came from this band. And obviously, having played with, as an Allman Brother for years, I think those two continue to carry that on. But the music's always there, regardless of, the members having unfortunately passed. But, you know, it's out there, it's there for everybody. And like you said, there are people out there still doing this kind of music, so you can go hear it.
Go seek them out. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't listened to At Fillmore East in a while, go crank it up.
Yeah, go
Go,
crank it up.
go crank it up because I just did it this week and
Need to.
I was happy. I was so happy. Like I had it was a beautiful day today. I was actually driving home from work and I put the windows down and I had this going and I cranked it up and it was just like, oh, it was the best. It was the best tonic for a long day at work. It was just
Yeah,
so great.
when you're in the mood for it, nothing else is going to work. You got to play something. And like I said, I like to grab live stuff from them. So even this one, like this is one that has, Warren and Derek. their one of their final shows at the Beacon. Um,
Yeah, the
just
legendary Beacon shows, right? They did.
Beacon shows. I mean, yeah, I think that was their, I don't want to say their home base, but I think they felt that that was one of their favorite venues because I think they always hit the Beacon for at some point on a tour. Um,
Yeah. And
you
didn't they
know,
do like long, they did like
like
residencies.
residencies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Almost like
So
Vegas, but it was in at the Beacon. Yeah. So
indeed.
yeah.
So, but
Great, great.
yes,
Awesome.
you, if you haven't heard it, you need to hear it. And if you know it, go play it because you'll be happy you did.
I think that's a great way to end it. So,
Perfect.
Eric, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming
Always
out
fun.
here. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure
Cool.
having you on Curlis Mania. So thank you. Yeah, if you like what you see, please hit like and hit subscribe. If you like, it helps the channel. So, and let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts on the Allman Brothers, on Fillmore East, on Ida Peach, on Idlewild South, whatever, anything Allman Brothers related. Feel free to comment. It'd be great. I read them all. So. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time on Curlis Mania. See you.